Good afternoon, good morning, good evening. Thank you for joining the inaugural Microsoft Community Connection. My name is Jonathan Wynn. I'm one of your hosts. And today I'm with Don Dinez, and he's going to be talking about what's happening in Microsoft Phone, all the new things in that. So Don, let's rock and roll today. So we're going to kick it off. We're going to tell you about the community a little bit. We're going to tell you what's new, and then we're going to have a quick poll at the end, and love to have your final thoughts, because without you, we can't do these events. So we're always looking for great input. Love that you're joining. But most importantly, we want to make sure that you're respecting our code of conduct. As you know, Microsoft's mission is to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So we expect that these digital platforms that we're hosting, that you will be and create a respectful, friendly, and fun, inclusive experience for all participants. So thanks. We encourage you all, if you've got questions, please post them. As you notice that your mic is muted for today, but if you have a question, just put it on down in the chat. As well as when we wrap up, we will put all of this content out on our YouTube channel, and I will send you a link to access the PowerPoint as well as the recording, so you can share it with your colleagues and take advantage of all these new fun features. All right, well, just a little bit about the community, right? It's all sponsored by us, and we've got subject matter experts, and we're going to be doing this the third Thursday of every month. And it allows you to share. Come on, if you haven't had a chance, we're going to send you an invite to join our Viva Engage group, where you can ask questions. We'll have subject matter experts, and as well as your community of Converge Comm CSNs monitoring, and you can ask questions, and we'll come up with a solution to help you as best you can. So you can click on aka.ms CommUnity Reg, and you can sign right up and join in there if you haven't already. So that's just a little bit about us. Don, I think this is over to you now, my friend. Oh, upcoming. We've got, mark your calendar, we'll be sending you invites for November 13th, December 24th, right before the holidays, and we'll hit you up in January again. So we've got 3 months planned out with a lot of amazing content. So thank you for joining again. Enjoy. You'll see the link in that Don's already posted, and we're ready to go. Oh, and one last thing. Yeah. We've got our YouTube channel, don't forget. So subscribe.
We'll go over this all over again. Make sure you'll get it more than once. We'll throw links into the chat. Make sure you have all that. So
don't forget to go to YouTube, subscribe, and hit the like button.
Absolutely. All right, let's talk about what we're going to talk about. Okay. So this session is really focused on Teams Phone. What's been happening, especially since July, that you really want to be able to think about, and specifically, how is it going to help your organization with any use cases that you may have? And so keep this in mind. A lot of this stuff has already released or will be releasing fairly soon. So let's take a look at what happened in July in our announcements that we had. First thing I want to kind of talk about is the fact is, and I don't know how many of you guys are just feel like you're inundated with the whole Copilot piece, but we did announce an additional piece that will be coming here in the near future, and it is Copilot for Teams Phone. And think about it as a opportunity for you to be able to really get the power of AI when you're in a call. And it doesn't matter if it's a PSTN call or if it's a VoIP call. You are able to turn this on and then be able to interact with the Copilot, be able to say, hey, what's going on with this? Can you give me a summary of what we talked about, right? And that's really what this is all about. That's the power of that piece. And then I don't necessarily have to take notes the whole time. I can really be focusing and concentrating on that conversation that I'm having and let Copilot do all that additional work on here. So let's take a look at a video that's going to kind of walk through this whole process.
Imagine I'm a salesperson on a phone call with a customer who has questions about the warranty for products they've purchased. During the call, Copilot helps me stay focused and engaged in the conversation with the customer without having to worry about taking notes to refer to after the call. In this case, the customer has some technical support questions about the features So I'm going to pull in our support team to provide more details. Based on her presence, I see that my colleague on the support team is available, so I'll use the consult then transfer feature to chat with her and confirm she's available to help the customer with these questions. Now, when I transfer the call to her, thanks to Copilot, she's able to get a summarized recap of our discussion and a list of the top questions raised by the customer, all in a matter of seconds. This saves us time we would have spent catching up and creates a better customer experience since they don't need to recap the questions.
And the one thing I want you to notice, that whole Copilot experience is happening here in that Teams meeting window, right? So pops out to the right. I have that same prompts that I have. If you've seen any of the other Copilots for Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those types of things, you'll see those prompts there. And it will give you some ideas as far as what you can do. So you can do that summary. In this case, it was a support ticket, right? It was a support call, right? That's very important. And comment in the chat saying it's almost like contact center. Getting there. Yeah, we're getting some more of those capabilities in there with that Copilot capability. So keep in mind, this is coming. I don't remember the actual date yet, but a lot of this stuff is out in preview right now, so you can test some of this.
Imagine.
All right. Let's make sure I got the right one. There we go. I don't want Copilot. I want the next big one. We've had a lot of buzz about this that was announced in July and then became available here in September around a tool called, or a capability called, shared calling. Now, a lot of people, when they take a look at this, is like, well, is this like a call queue? Well, really not really, because you don't have all that call queue capabilities in the shared calling. But think about it is in a scenario where you have maybe a small office and not many people do a lot of outbound calls, but they still need access to be able to do that every once in a while. As an example, but then they can get a call from, let's say, the auto attendant or a specific phone number. So what shared calling allows us to do is to be able to assign a phone number to a resource account. And then through the shared calling policy, I am able to then add up to 10,000 users to that particular shared call policy. And what it means is that when that call comes in, it goes through the, say it goes through the auto attendant, then they will be able to receive that call, right? And then if they need to do an outbound call, they can then do an outbound call using that resource account. Now, to be able to do this and get this set up, there is PowerShell script. We'll put that link in there. I think, Jonathan, if you can grab that link, throw it in there, how to configure it through PowerShell right now, with the ability to do it through the UI coming in the near future. And actually, I have a little video I want to show you that kind of walks you through that a little bit. But again, it's up to 10,000 users, and you can use it with Teams Phone if you're using Operator Connect, direct routing, Microsoft Page, calling pay-as-you-go. Now, with Operator Connect direct routing, make sure that you talk with your telco provider, make sure they're supporting it, because it's pretty early on, and we want to make sure everybody's on there and can do it. But the nice thing about it is, again, that one phone number then can be attributed to up to 10,000 users. So let's take a look at the video and kind of walk through what it looks like.
In the Teams Admin Center, I simply create a custom shared calling policy group. Then I can assign a resource account and phone number to my new custom policy. And finally, I assign users to this policy. Just like that, all of these users are enabled to place and receive PSTN calls with a shared phone number. The experience for these users is exactly the same as if they'd had their own personal phone number. In the Teams Admin Center, I simply create a custom shared calling policy.
All right, I don't want to see that more than once. So yeah, I don't know if you saw Jonathan, but he did say that yes, you're able to do it in that scenario. Instead of giving each person their own DID, it's a shared number, if you want to think of it that way. And then Mara, going back to the Copilot, requires a separate license. Yeah, that is going to require separate licensing. I don't believe all that stuff has been announced quite yet for that. And then the other question was, can users opt out? And I'm assuming that means opt out of that call coming in. They can set their do not disturb if they want to. They can not answer it. There's a lot of different options from that, but it's not like a call queue where you can then opt out of the call queue. So hopefully that answers your question. Oh boy, we got a lot of questions. So I'm going to ask my colleagues to continue to try to answer those as we continue through. So thank you guys. That's awesome. I kind of figured there was going to be a lot of people that were going to like that whole share calling experience. So, all right, moving on to the next one. So one of the regions that we've had to, do a lot of work on to be able to help bring Teams Phone is the India scenario. And specifically, we've been only able to do direct routing in those particular companies that have a presence there. So recently now, we've actually worked with a couple different companies to be able to bring Operator Connect platform to India, right? So that capability now expands that region. So now you have more choices. These are the first 3 companies that really came out. And again, this is in July when they first came out saying these 3 will be able to work utilizing the Operator Connect platform as opposed to just doing direct routing. So good expansion of that market. And then the other piece too is we're expanding with more providers wrapped around Teams Phone Mobile. And if you're not familiar with Teams Phone Mobile, the idea of being able to have that mobile device, right? That phone that your Teams number comes right up on, right? That it's like a native number right on that, utilizing that native dialer. Everything goes through that. Yes, you do have the app when you're in the office, but that phone now then can be, Teams Phone enabled with that phone number, right? So you could have one number across both Teams and that mobile device. And it doesn't necessarily have to have that mobile app on there. That's the thing. That's the nice thing about it, but it's, you get your benefits from that. So it's important to understand that this is like that next, another option that you have when it comes to Teams, Operator Connect, direct routing, or even call plans. So this is announcing the general availability of this within these different countries. And this will be expanding as we have more companies that are getting on and more countries that are getting added. And in fact, September, we had an expansion on that. So we'll hit that in a second. All right, so that's the July timeframe. A few good things happening in there. In the August timeframe, we had some important updates that happened. So one of the things that we had a lot of companies asking about is we just have to make it better for shared line appearance, or we call delegated appearance. So the ability to be able to really see if I'm a delegate for somebody else, in this situation, you see somebody up there as a delegate, you're now able to, right in the Teams calling app, be able to see who your delegate is and if you're a delegate for somebody else. Right, so you can see both of those. You then have the ability to jump in on that call if you want to. If that person is on the line with somebody else, you can go and jump in on that call, right? So it's a little bit easier to be able to do that. And by the way, these changes not only affects the call app, but also Teams phone devices. So you have a physical device, you'll actually be able to see that delegate as well as now the mobile app will be getting that. So it's just a lot easier, especially if you have that boss admin type scenario, that to be able to go back and forth, answer that call. Hey, maybe the boss needs to jump in, click in it. Now I'm in that call, right? So you should have seen those are already come out. The other thing we did in August is we relaunched this thing called the hotline phone. And the nice thing about this is that if you have a scenario, maybe you're on a manufacturing floor and you have to have a one-way call to somebody, another phone number, internal, external of your organization, 911, those types of things, you're able to then literally have them pick up that phone receiver, and it will automatically dial that number for you without having to do anything. This does require the team shared device license. If you're not familiar with that team shared device license, that one you use for common area phones in the first place, right? That shared device type scenario. Once you have that connected into, then you can go and configure on that phone what that particular number is, or through Teams Admin Center be able to do it. A good friend of mine, Daryl Hunter, he did a great workup on that. That link is in there, so you can actually walk through that, get that set up, and start playing around with it. The other thing too is the Teams phone devices did get an update. The app on there did get an update. So now you will see it changed in August if you hadn't seen this, but this is only specifically for Crestron, Poly, and Yealink devices that have this version number that you see down in there, right? So if you haven't pushed that out to those devices yet, make sure you do. Always a good way to be able to do it, but then understand what the changes are going to be able to do. You will have the ability to have the dial pad only if you really need that, right? Otherwise, it's going to be a very simplified UI experience on the home page. All right, and then again, going back to that Teams shared device license, we also announced the ability to be able to add this to a mobile Android device. And some of the customers I've been talking with around this, they're like, well, we need to have something that shift people can give, maybe it's a shift manager or a lead can be able to get to somebody else. And they don't have to log in, log out type scenario, but they need to have a device that they can either call or connect with others. And this is one way to do it if you actually have cellular, service within that particular location. I had another one where they were boss admin type of scenario, but they literally need to carry a phone with them when they leave the desk because it's always, constantly something's happening, right? And be able to do it through this. You associated that Teams shared device license to a resource account. You log in to that resource account on that Android mobile device. It gives you, walkie-talkie. It gives you call queue. It gives you auto-attended, even cloud voicemail, and those features that you get with this Teams shared device license on a mobile platform. Okay, so again, another thing to think about as far as your use cases and if this is going to work. Teams did get the ability to be able to take, and we do have this ability within Outlook to be able to have, or our email exchange to be able to have protected voicemail, right? So it's secure, only certain people can have access to it. Now, as those are coming in, you'll actually see those in Teams, right? So it's authenticated to that particular recipient. They would be the only one that be able to open up that voicemail, and now, again, available in Teams app. The other thing we announced in August was the ability for this dynamic emergency calling capability. And this is something that came out about a year and a half with some of the Ray Bombs Act and those pieces that we needed to have in place to be able to say, hey, I'm away from the office. I need to be able to still do E911 calls, right? So still have that capability. The dynamic piece now is on the web. And that's the piece that we know. So you could be on a computer in a web browser with a Teams app up and running. You will be able to then configure that dynamic routing piece, just like you would do on the desktop app. And then last for August, we announced one of our partners, Algo. They have a lot of great devices for PAs and systems to be able to help you guys in those types of manufacturing type scenarios. Now these are going to be Teams certified endpoints. And the link in there really gives you the play-by-play on how to be able to configure it and get it in there. This is using the Teams SIP gateway for those connectivity into Teams and your telephony scenario. So good alternative if you are looking at being able to need to expand that within your organization and add that into your portfolio. This is one way to be able to do that and get those systems up and running. All right, so that's August. There was a lot that happened in August. Now let's just talk about this last month and a couple of new announcements that came out with that. I did mention that that shared calling literally went available in September, so we're not going to touch the base on that. But as I was mentioning with the Teams, Microsoft Teams phone side of things, we do now have from deployment, and this is utilizing the Operator Connect in Teams Phone mobile piece. We do have a couple more companies now that are available. So in Denmark and then United Kingdom. And then we have a lot more devices that are available. This is constantly changing. I want to make sure you guys understand the link that we have in here for the plan for SIP Gateway has a very updated list of all the devices that are available to work with SIP Gateway. And if you guys are not familiar with SIP Gateway, reach out to us. We'll let you, get some information on it. The documentation is there so you can actually get it started, but this is a great way if you do have legacy devices, not Teams native devices, but legacy devices that utilize the SIP capability, then you can utilize that, get them in using SIP Gateway to be able to work within your Teams phone environment. All right. I saw everything died down as soon as we got off the whole share calling thing. Any other questions that you guys may have, throw them into the chat. We can answer those. Going once, going twice. Give me a reaction. What did you guys think from today? Was this beneficial for you to kind of see information about what's been happening from Teams phone and what's been new? Go ahead and do a thumbs up. You can do clapping, heart. I don't care. Nobody's getting anything. All right. We got to work on that, guys.
It's a tough crowd. Here they are.
It is a very tough crowd. All right. So last couple things. Call to action. As we mentioned, go ahead. If you're not a part of the community, and this is the Viva Engage community, let's take the conversation there, guys. That's a great opportunity to connect with other customers, other people that are like-minded, even talk to Microsoft. We're going to be in the soon time, we haven't done this yet, but we're actually talking with our some people from Teams Engineering to be able to hop on and work with you guys and talk with you guys and answer questions. So please, get connected with that group. As we mentioned, we're going to be doing our monthly series, Snackable content. You saw that information. Slides will be available. We'll make sure you get the link to that, and make sure you go to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and then register for those events. Lastly, please. Let us know how we did. We want to know, just because we want to improve this, other topics that you guys may think that you might want. So please make sure you do that and let everybody else know about what's going on with this. We want to build that community. So with that, we thank you for attending today. Again, let us know how we can improve. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, everybody.
And we'll see you on November 13th, and I'll be sending an invite out. So keep your eyes open. Thanks for joining, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.